when we talk about the blueprint for the year and the blueprint for your life, it can kind of be compared to your trading blueprint, so to speak. Now, a really good way to know how you performed in your trading is to kind of print out a statement or export a statement from your broker or exchange, which will detail your performance for the month or the year overall. But when I say a blueprint for your year, essentially you can kind of mirror that process with your life. So, as an example, if you were to print out a statement for your entire progress for the year in terms of trading, you would see every single win, every single loss, every single period of drawdown, every single period where you went on probably the craziest winning streak of a lifetime. You will learn equally as much from the winning streaks as you will do from the losing streaks and the periods where your trading performance fluctuated. Now, obviously, when it comes to a blueprint of your year, we're quite fortunate, and this may not be the case for everyone, but most phones these days, or most people are using iPhones. If you actually go onto your photo album, it breaks down in the library area, kind of your years, your months, your
Yeah,
days.
it does.
That
Yeah,
can be a really good way
that's
to
good actually. Yeah,
kind of remember. Do you know what I mean? It can kind of
I'm gonna
help
do that later
remind
and
you.
look back at the year and
I'd done
say,
it
right, what
last
happened
night,
this
and that's
year?
why it clicked in my head just now because I was going through like my year's highlights and was like, oh my God, I forgot I'd done this. I forgot I went there. I forgot I posted this, or
Yeah,
whatever it may be. That is essentially your statement that you have on
yeah, it's
demand,
true. Yeah,
constantly updating your life. And that
I'm
is a
just
great
going.
way to look back and just go,
I'm just going back to
wow.
January now just to see.
And you just forget things you've done. And I was up at like 5 in the morning. It just clicked in my head. I was like, wow, this is a highlights reel of my life that I am almost unconsciously and subconsciously just creating in the background. It can tell you your locations, your notes. Check your notes. I like to write notes sometimes, especially with my manifestations, or almost
Yeah,
personal, like a personal diary in my notes. It would be like, today was a good day, or today was a terrible day. That's one way to do things as well.
yeah,
What I can also say
it's good looking at
to,
it actually.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. I just done what Tori said as like a real life. Just wanted to see what it's like. But yeah, I just quickly went to the library, scroll back to January 1st quickly, and you just start saying, oh yeah, these are all
Yeah,
the things that I've done within this year. So it's a good idea actually. Good
it's quite
exercise.
effective. It clicks in my head. And then it also relays into the latest course lesson I've done, which was BTC on the 1 minute time frame. Now,
One
the
minute, man.
markets can be analyzed, and me as a 1 minute man, obviously, I've oriented towards the 1 minute time frame. But if you think about it, what we are telling you is technical analysis of your life. When we consider that the year is coming to an end, that means our yearly candle for 2023 is coming to a close for our life. How that candle closes, I hope this is going to make sense, can help us project how the next year will potentially go as well. The same way that when BTC closed for 2022 with one of the most bearish 12-month candles we've seen in a very long time, that allowed us to project that BTC had a massive upside projection possible moving into 2023. And our life is no different. We are often so fixated on the intraday timeframes of our life, we forget that what is happening and taking place on those intraday timeframes is overall generating and creating the structure on the larger timeframes as well. Does
I
that make
really like it.
sense?
I'm actually like drawing it out and just imagining what you're saying, and it actually works
Because
really well.
if
Like
you
I'm
think,
thinking, you're going. I'll let
go
you
no,
finish
go on.
first.
So
I'll
I
let
was
you
just,
finish first.
it's clicked in my head because when I was looking at the 1 minute time frame in the course lesson we were doing, we're just tracking all of these seemingly irrelevant up and down swings. And if you get too engrossed in it, you actually forget to realize that that 1 minute time frame is creating a new trend or structure on the 5 minute, the 15, the 30, etc. But if you're too engrossed on that 1 minute time frame, you can actually forget that, let's say there's
Yeah,
a
massively.
bearish
Yeah,
trend on the intraday time frames that
yeah,
can make you almost forget about the fact you're in an overall bullish trend
yeah.
on the higher time frames. And I think it's very important to have that perception of our life and not get too engrossed in what is happening in the short term. It could be an incredible, incredible win streak in your life for the period of that month. Then the following month could be the worst losing streak you've had. That could almost alter your perception to believe that you're now no longer going towards where you're going. But this can also be compared. Oh, sorry, Bernie, I've just is everything's coming to me right now.
No, no.
But it makes a change.
I know what it's like when you're on one, you're on one.
But it also what it also reminds me of as well is how we invest in crypto and how we also trade in the Forex markets as well. Most notably, where we bought XRP, specifically even coins like Algo, Luna, FTT, etc. But also one of our more notorious buys was when we bought GBP USD, which we kind of discussed on the live the other day. Now, GBP USD brought record lows, and in any logical realm should not have been purchased. That was not a logical buy, because if we were engrossed in what was currently happening at that point in time, pound had hit record lows. Now, correlating that to our life, when our life hits record lows, you have an option there to strike and begin making a change, or you have an option to continue flowing down that path that could potentially lead you to new lows. But what me and Bernie done at that point in time was make a decision to make an action to potentially make a change. And our life is no different. When you hit rock bottom, as an example, if you are willing to make a decision at that moment, that can often be the most profitable position to make a decision on your life, because there's little upside. And at that point, you have nowhere else to go but up, which is what the financial markets have continuously proven to do so if you're willing to strike the markets at that right price. Does that make sense?
Sounds great. Yeah.
I don't know where this is coming from.
I was, yeah, even when I was just drew it out like a yearly candle. It's where you said that, you know, your life could be a yearly candle. So I'm just imagining that yearly candle. So say you've had a bearish year, and your yearly candle, if you had to describe your yearly candle as rubbish, like it's been a bad year, so that's a bearish candle. But you know, what do we always say comes after? Like what you were literally just saying, what comes after in the markets? What comes after the bearish candle, engulfing candles? That's where you normally see a reversal. So yeah, you might have like the bearish candle on the year, and it might dip a little bit lower at the start of next year to take out that low, to take out the wick before reversing back up to the upside.
Classic.
Before we're going back up to the upside and engulfing and having you could have, you know, it may not happen straight away, just like the candles. You know, if you've had I'll just say it, shit year,
Yeah.
you know, the next year might not start off amazing straight away. That's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, new year, new me, 2024. Don't see results in January, and then they give up. So, you know, like the start of the year, it might continue a little bit shit. You might take out the wick, or you might take out the low of this year's yearly candle, and then reverse back up to the upside by the end of the year. Or if you've had a bullish year this year, you know, you want to have another bullish year next year. But as we know, it's not just the candles don't just open and push up straight away. There will be a dip to come down to create the wick on the candle before projecting up higher. So even if you've had a bullish engulfing candle and you want to have another bullish engulfing candle, there will be a dip lower to create that wick before moving up. But that's part of life, and that's the highs and the lows and price going up and the dips. So, you know, even if you had a great year, just because you have a little dip at some point next year, could be at the start of the candle in January, or it could be in the middle of the year that you have a dip in like May, June. But as long as overall at the end of the year you have another bullish year, then you've had another bullish year in life. So, and then I guess, you know, in general, that's what you're trying to do. You are trying to use the blueprint. It's all coming to me now in my head. Using the blueprint, using the blueprint that you're saying on each year to attack the markets of life each year in a better way, so that your chart or your life is constantly going up. Do you know what I mean? So you're using that blueprint to better your life each year, so that you're constantly having bullish candle or trying to have bullish candles. There's going to be ups and downs, but so that yearly chart is going up and up and up as much as possible. You know, then you go down to the lower time frames, which is like on a daily basis. Days are going to be like this, having dips. Months might be a little bit more, but then if you can try and get years to try and be a little bit more steady, and that's what I mean. If you zoom out on what we're saying is, you know, on a day-to-day basis or a month-to-month, it is going to be more choppy. There are going to be good days, bad days. Imagine drop your life down to 4-hour candles. It's going to be all over the place, especially if you're trading. You know, you just won a trade, great, or you just lost a trade, back down. It's going to be up and down, but over the course of days, it's going to be choppy. Weeks is going to be less choppy. but over a course of year. But if you can use the blueprint of each year to better yourself, then you're gonna avoid that chop a little bit, avoid the dips a little bit more, and try and have a bit more of a steady trajectory to the upside. If you're constantly trying to improve, look
Yeah.
back on the year and then improve on the year ahead. I think just going back to what you were saying as well about the go and look back at your pictures and stuff. I think, not just in training, but if you look back at this year and let's just say the gym, if you wanted to go to the gym or to eat well, or if you wanted to stop going out at the weekends or drinking alcohol or things like that, or whatever it may be, whatever it was last year that you had as a New Year's resolution, how did you do on those? You want to look at those from last year. How did you do on those? What made you do good at them? What made you do bad at them? What made you stop things? What made you not stop other things? And look back at last year's blueprint and then understand, right, well, where did you go wrong on this year's or this year? And then, understand, why did I stop going to the gym? What was it that made me fall off? Because it all happens to everybody. What was it? Was it because, a bit of laziness, procrastination, because I went on holiday, came back and never got back into it? Which, why am I not achieving my dreams or my goals? Is it because you're going out every weekend, partying, not spending enough time, all those type of things? So you need to look back and reflect, what is it that's stopping me or pulling me back from getting better? And but also the good things. What has helped you stay online? What has helped you achieve the goals that you've achieved so far this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we must remember is our jobs as analysts and traders is to understand where dips can go, but also where those dips can lead to. And by always preparing and understanding, which is something I always do in crypto, where could a deep retracement go? Where could something drastically price? Where could a mini retracement go in the short term? But what can that generally lead to in terms of the upside is always very important to understand. And it's exactly the same when it comes to your life as well. You must always be willing to prepare for where things can potentially go downhill in the short term, long term, and medium term as consequences of your actions. If you consider your life in comparison to the charts and the financial markets, unlike any of the assets we trade, whether that's spot or leverage, we cannot control those assets. But our life is an asset itself. And if we think about the chart of our life, we are in complete control of the outcome of that chart. Every single day, we are the ones generating those daily candles. We are the ones generating those weekly candles,
By your
monthly,
actions.
yearly, and even 1 minute candles. Like Bernie just said, as an example, if you think about diet, I'm someone that loves food and finds it very hard to maintain a strict diet because I just love eating and it's very, very hard to stick to it. But I'm completely aware that the consequences of my actions of overeating on certain days will cause a potential retracement to the downside on a daily time frame. My calorie increase what's the word? Yeah, I may increase my calories on that day. Naturally, that is almost bearish pressure on my body to slightly gain more weight and suppress me down. And
So
that
I'm
could
just
impact
making
the
notes.
daily candle. But it also goes without saying as well, when we think about the higher time frame basis, you could have had a fantastic start to the year. This is something that happens for many people as well because they go into the new year driven, motivated. Like Bernie said, New Year's resolution, I'm going to go to the gym. Every single year, people say, I'm signing back up to the gym. For
January's full of
the
people in
yeah,
the gym. Yeah,
the January blues. And for the first six
the
months,
January
you
sales
may
count.
be,
Yeah,
it literally is the January sales.
all
Everyone goes
gyms have
crazy.
half price off in January because they
They
know
actually
they
do.
get floods of people that come in,
Yeah.
leave by February, but continue paying the
Yeah.
membership.
All the way for the
Uh,
year. That's true. That's true. And that's the case for most people, to be honest, because we all find time to get that motivation, but we
Especially
fail to
during
kind of
Christmas when we have a bit of
yeah,
a rest and recharge. So everybody does normally get that fire in your belly, like, yep,
yeah,
this year I'm on it. Especially after probably overindulging at Christmas. But people all want to join in January. But I don't know if you're going to lead on to this, but then when they're not seeing results in the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, or just because it's a bit too hard and a bit too much
yeah,
effort, because people don't are lazy are lazy, then they just give up. But yeah, go back to what you
Yeah.
said.
No, yeah, so that was basically what I was going to say. And if you again go back to the analogy of the yearly candle, you could have started that year on an absolute rocket ship. First 6 months, driven, diet in check, motivated, working, achieving results. And with a lack of consistency, or maybe you just fell off in general, you could have potentially ended up retreating as it came to the end of the year, potentially slowing down. Now, what that would generate on a 12-month candle, sorry, is a very large wick, price driving up and then retracing back down, leaving a very large wick to the upside. Now, if there's one thing we know, wicks must be filled. And if that is how your year has ended, you should also understand that how you've ended the year is nothing more than a retracement as well. And if you've hit a certain pinnacle at the midpoint of your year, let's say you hit an all-time high in your life 6 months into the year, and then ended up retracing back down for the final 6 months, whether it was, you gained weight, you lost progression, maybe your trading results slightly dipped. It is absolutely no different. But what you now have is a reference point for how high you've been before. You could have hit, a target of, you could have got a six pack. You could have got the biggest biceps in the world. You could have cut down to 3% body fat. That is your peak of the wick right there. That is the top and tippity top of that candle that already allows you to see that you've now achieved that and can easily achieve it again. It's almost like looking at Bitcoin going to 69K and going, right, I now know the market has a threshold up to $69,000. So even though we're currently trading at $44,000, I now understand it is entirely possible to achieve those heights again. And the same should be said for your life. If you have hit a certain level financially, physically, mentally, you now have that wick where you've hit your pinnacle as a reference point for where you can not only go and fill again in the future after a retracement, but also exceed to create new highs as well. I don't know where this is all coming from, but
Yeah, if you see me looking down at this, it's because I'm making notes. Because when Tori's talking, it's making things go off in my head that I want to talk about. But I've got a couple of things actually. But one, I like what you said is we are analysts. That's what we do. We analyze the charts and we analyze like the crypto charts, the forex charts, and different time frames. So it's just you just put it beautifully again. Like we need to analyze our lives. We need to analyze, and we can dissect it as well. So we can analyze our lives. Like think about and what we're saying. It might sound crazy. I've never actually thought about this before until today, until this podcast started. Like about these your year being a candle. I've never thought
yeah,
about it like that before, but it makes so much sense. But if you think as an analyst over this Christmas period, like dissect and analyze your life. Like you could even have, imagine a chart with different candles. So say there's a candle for the gym, a candle for your diet, a candle for whatever it may be. Like how bullish or bearish or how much has
yeah,
that candle gone up? Like gym, what I mean? As you said, has it gone up? Was bullish at one point, then came all the way back down again because you gave up. You could look at it in that way, or combined as one whole yearly candle. But each separate thing that you have had a goal on last year, like maybe saving some money, learning to trade, or understanding technical, all that you can dissect your life into millions of different things, or all different goals that you've got for, not millions, but lots of things that you want to have goals for. So if you dissect, or if you look back to maybe last year, if you've done this last year and created a list of goals and were doing some manifestation for this year, look back at all those things and think, right, well, if that was a candle, how bullish or bearish would that be? Like, is your gym candle bullish, or is it bearish, or is
yeah,
it? Do you know what I mean? And the other thing that you said is really interesting about, if you then think about your life as a chart, what you said earlier is, you can get so fixated on the 1 minute chart. So just imagine a 1 minute chart. It is a minute of our life. That's why it's called a minute. It takes a minute. So every minute of your life is like contributing to your overall life. So you can get so fixated on the 1 minute time frame within a day, like, oh, you had an argument with, say, your girlfriend or wife or whatever, at 8:07 a.m. But why are you going to let that affect your day? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, so like what you were saying there is if you're so fixated on the 1 minute chart, you don't realize what the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, monthly trends are. So then you're letting the small things like matter when it's minuscule on a bigger, but also when it comes to then looking at your goals and what you're trying to achieve, what you do every minute, as you said, is contributing to the bigger trend. So what's happening on the 1 minute chart is contributing to that 5 minute chart, which contributes to the 15, which creates the hour, which creates the 4 hour, the daily. So even though it is a 1 minute time frame, you know, it's important that what you're doing is positive to try and make a positive effect on the higher time frame. So, you know, the more you procrastinate, if you sit there for 10 minutes, it's going to take an effect on your day, or, you know, which will take an effect on your week, which will take effect on your month. You know, these little things can turn into big things. So you need to cut out the bad things as much as possible